Hey everyone, I'm joined today by Immortals support Destiny. They came off of their loss against TSM. And I want to start with the picks in the bot lane specifically. You had a Ziggs kind of lineup there. We've seen it now come up a couple times. This one didn't work out. Do you feel like it's a good pick? Do you feel like it was bad, just kind of bad matchup? What did you think about it?
I think that the Ziggs pick is fine. I think it's shown a lot of priority out of all the other regions in the world right now. I think it's really strong right now. I think that we didn't play towards it correctly. We got behind on top side, and then we pretty much gave them the Herald, and we didn't trade anything. So, to be honest, I feel like we just played terribly as a team. It was an awful game from us, I think.
Now, how does that happen, given the fact that you all upset Cloud9 yesterday, right? You had this big game here, and also in this split, you've had a great start, and now you're starting to slump a little bit here. Why is this happening to you all?
I think a lot of the other LCS teams are starting to adapt better than us. I think that we have kind of stagnated right now. It's obviously something that we've acknowledged and something that we're working towards, but I think the other teams in the LCS are just improving more than we are. And all we can do is just try step back, look at what we're doing wrong, and just keep hitting hard on it. I think we're all aware that we're not performing at the level that we expect. Obviously, 7th place isn't that bad considering how this split has played out, but obviously we want to do better.
0-3 last week, which was a tough week. I had the chance to sit down with Xerxes, and you could see how much it meant to him. And then you got the win against Cloud9 yesterday. Obviously, not the exact game you wanted from TSM, but what did you guys work on last week that led to some improvements here?
I think that we kind of took a step back. We realized that we weren't doing the fundamentals right. At least in particular, I noticed that I thought that we had gotten worse. I think we were falling back into our comfort zones and falling back into not willing to play as a team and moving around the map correctly. I think you can see this in our LCS games where we're very slow and we generally give teams a comeback opportunity because of this. So I think we're just defaulting back to bad play, and we just need to acknowledge this and just keep working on it on practice. And I think that's what we did this week. Obviously against C9 it was a messy game, but at least we were able to close it out, and I think the last engage was really well played.
Now, when it came down to your career and making the move on over to North America, you're one of the few players, the only Oceanic player to have ever played in Europe, and now one of the handful of players that have made the move to full-time starter on an LCS squad. What were some of the considerations that you've had, and what were some of the difficulties that you've ran into that maybe other players might have had even harder time because you've had the experience of going to Europe already?
So coming from OS and then going to EU was a very big adjustment in terms of culture, language, just gameplay, the team environment. It was a big learning experience. I remember the first 3 months I was so far behind the rest of the team. It was so clear and obvious. So I think this kind of put a target on my back because I was a weak link. But as time went on, I felt like I was doing my role and I was doing more than actually what was expected of me. I think I definitely did improve a lot in Europe. I actually really enjoyed my time in Europe. I think the solo queue was amazing. And I think being able to scrim some of the best Western players really opened my eyes. When you're playing against G2 and Fnatic every day, how do you not improve, right? I think it was a really good opportunity for me, and I think I did the most of what was the most that I could. But in saying that, transitioning from EU to NA has been kind of difficult, to be honest. I think how the team operates, or at least the culture, is very different. I think in EU, if you make a mistake or something goes badly, the way that people reflect and the way that people voice how they feel is very direct. It's very straight to the point. They will just straight up say, "This, you are so effing bad. You are so boosted. Why are you doing this? What is going through your mind?" But here, I feel like it's more focused on the macro and more focused on the fundamentals, and it isn't as straight to the point. So I think NA teams are just not as honest, and I think teams aren't, I don't know, I just feel like they just don't care enough, or they aren't willing to fix their mistakes. The players are just worse, I think, here. And I think that's why NA hasn't had many good results in the past few years, because there's just so much wrong. Like I can watch the games and see it, but when it comes to actually applying it, that's like the hard part.
Yeah, those are some strong words, but from someone who, one of the few players that has gotten to play now in multiple regions and come back and now lay their experience on it. A lot of the time you get to hear that from Korean players that have, played in Korea, played in China, or played in Turkey, and now or played in EU, now come to NA. But that's a very cool perspective that you have that, again, is pretty direct and straight to the point. What is the easiest path of fixing it? What would you fix first for, this type of change to power up the player pool?
I think that teams have to start from the beginning, and the beginning is the coaching staff. When I view a team, I think the coaching staff has to be very smart. They have to know how to play the game at a perfect level, or like they need to be able to find the pieces to find a really good roster that mesh well personality-wise, gameplay-wise. They just have to find the perfect like fit, if you guess. If that's like, I feel like it's so hard to do because there's not many players in the pool, at least for like NA residents domestically, and the ones that have been given the shot haven't really performed that well, or it has taken them time to develop, and teams aren't willing to develop. I think Dignitas are a good example. They're like a team that has a lot of NA players, and they have actually like definitely done really well this year, and I think it will be overlooked, but I think people just need to find the right core. And yeah, I just don't think NA teams have found that right now, because I feel like 100 Thieves are probably the team that looks like they have the best team in sync right now.
Now, let's turn the focus back to you and your development and the part of the career that you're in right now, because you've already gone to multiple major regions. You're performing on a squad that, is had some ups, had some downs. What are you working on specifically to become a better League of Legends player and just, the next version of yourself?
For myself personally, I've always wanted to improve my laning. My laning was very bad coming into EU, and that was something that I worked on tremendously. Coming to NA, I kind of have defaulted back into bad habits, but also I think EU bot lanes are just better than NA bot lanes, so I think I have kind of gotten worse a little bit. I feel like it's arrogant to say that I've gotten a lot better or anything, because I just feel like the quality of solo queue and the quality of practice is just lower. So for myself, I've just been working on kind of the tangibles, trying to get everyone on the same page, to try see the same play that everyone else does. I think individually, I think I stack up quite well right now in the LCS. I'm not really afraid of any support. I think that the NA supports, the top 5 are like pretty good. So yeah, I'm personally quite happy with how I'm progressing, and I hope we can show better results as a team.
You said EU bot lanes are better than NA bot lanes. Who are your top NA bot lanes?
Top NA bot lanes. I think the FBI Huhi bot lane is the best one right now. I think TL's bot lane is not bad either. I think they play to their limits a lot. I'd say these two bot lanes will do well internationally if they get to that point.
Immortals is already kind of locked into playoffs. You have enough wins accumulated from the spring and summer. The positioning also seems relatively secure in terms of being in the lower bracket. What are the goals that you or that you want from your team, knowing that, hey, we've got playoffs kind of locked in. We know kind of where we're going with 7 games left to go. How do you want to use that time before you hop into the elimination bracket?
I think a lot of teams, what they're doing is that for these LCS games, they're kind of experimenting or like testing a little bit, because coming into best of 5s, it's very different, having to adapt on the fly, seeing what the other team is playing, and figuring out what's the best plan of attack. I think teams are doing night blocks, and everyone's trying to push themselves into new directions. So like it's generally a question of whether do you want to stick to what you did in the regular season, or do you want to show something new in playoffs, because that's what a lot of teams end up doing, and it'll either work really well or it'll work really poorly. So I think for us, we will just have to evaluate how our regular season goes and find a direction that works for us to get the most wins.
Well, Destiny, you had the big upset yesterday. Tough game today, but best of luck for the rest of the matches for this week and the rest of the split.
Thank you.